The thing about anger is, once it get on you, it overwhelms you. Now, I know this wasn't a prison situation, but I know a lot of people in prison who I was in prison with who can tell you I was having an out-of-body experience when I did such and such and such and such. I wasn't myself when I did this, that. I was angry. I wasn't thinking right. Because what happens is anger, once it overtakes you, you're not yourself. I probably got about 200 messages during the week, even people like my dog Markel, that hit me and said, say, bruh, the level of growth, maturity, bro, I need that. And I don't want y'all to know something, bro. Like, man, listen to me. I fought with my spirit all week. Because I had to think about, so I thought about something and I said, when I was 16, I went to prison for shooting a man, not because I was defending myself, I was defending my ego. I was defending my ego. And the thing I'm learning about life is the devil don't got no new tricks. The devil don't got no new tricks. And so what we gotta do is we gotta know what we represent. And I'm gonna tell y'all something, man. I really went home Tuesday night and said, God, I need you to forgive me. And the reason why I said, God, I need you to forgive me is because why did I need to respond at all? Who am I trying to justify something for? Who am I trying to prove a thing for? Because if I'm not trying to just prove something to God, I never have to prove nothing to man. I never have to prove nothing to man. And so, for all the, and I'm talking about some hitters hit me up and was like, dog, hey, you gotta teach me how to do that. And I'm gonna tell you that, man, one of the hardest things that we will ever fight in this world, as men for sure, is the ego. We're gonna always fight the ego. You're gonna always feel that, you know, you gotta represent yourself a certain way. You know, you gotta speak up about a certain thing, and you gotta, you know, do a certain thing, and you gotta, and at the end of the day, what you don't realize is you immediately become part of the circus. You immediately prove everybody right. And so, even though I felt like I responded with class and I still went home that night and said, God, forgive me, because I don't want to be Moses, where I strike the thing that I was supposed to speak to. And what happened with Moses was, Moses actually was in the desert for 40 years, in the wilderness for 40 years. The whole while, everybody talks about how the Israelites had to get their heart right. But those 40 years, Moses was still trying to get the residue out of his heart of his past. For those 40 years that Moses walked in the wilderness, he still had to get the residue of the fact that he was a murderer out of his system. He still had to get the residue of he had anger problems out of his system. And the thing about it is, you can worship God, you can pray to God, but if you don't let God take that out of your heart, if you try to take it out of your heart yourself, you will never be successful. And so what happened was when Moses came down and saw what the people was doing, and then when Moses, God said, just speak to it and I'm gonna give it, everybody gonna drink from it. I just need you to speak to it. The thing about anger is, once it get on you, it overwhelms you. Now, I know this wasn't a prison situation, but I know a lot of people in prison who I was in prison with who can tell you, I was having an out-of-body experience when I did such and such and such and such. I wasn't myself when I did this, that. I was angry. I wasn't thinking right. Because what happens is anger, once it overtakes you, you're not yourself. And it can make you do something that you can regret for the rest of your life. It can make you do something that would put in jeopardy everybody who depended on you. So I'm telling you that I know a lot of men doing 50, 60, 70. And one of my most profound moments in prison, I tell you no word of lie, I was sleeping next to this guy's name. We used to call him Mississippi. At the time when I met him, he was 22 years old. He had 240 years. 240 years, yo. I was probably about 19. He was probably, somewhere between 19 and 21. And I remember he went to the visiting shed one day. And he came back from the shed and he just had this look in his face, man. And I said, damn, bro, like, what's wrong, Sippy? He said, man, free, bro. This before Wallstreet Trapper here. He said, man, free, bro. I've been in jail for 5 years. My baby girl is 4 years old. I would never see her again. I would never see her as a free man. He said, the thing that gets me the most is another man gonna implement his belief in my child. And I never forgot that. It was the #1 reason why when I had my child, I gave up the streets. It was the #1 reason why when I had my daughter, I said, she don't deserve that from me. That stuck in my head. He said, another man will put his belief system in my child. Man. All because he got into a fight. His anger got the best of him. And he shot 2 dudes, killed both of them. And he said, bro, I really ain't won't do it. He said, bro, I really ain't won't do it. Anger. So I ain't telling you to not be a man. I ain't telling you not to stand on what you got to stand on. But I'm just telling you that if you let the anger and the ego get the best of you, fellas, it's going to trick you out your spot. The people that believed in you, the people that looked up to you, the people that depend on you, you leave them lost. And then everybody who was going to egg you on, guess what they're going to say when you in jail or when you lost your spot? Man, nigga, stupid. I would have never. Man, I would have never did that. Man, you got too much to think to do this. So I'm just telling y'all, fellas, man, Every day. Every day. Every day, fellas. Man, I ain't telling you to be no chump. I ain't telling you to be no, I ain't telling you none of that. I'm just telling you, you don't gotta prove nothing to nobody, bro. And then most times, and it's not me taking a shot at nobody, nothing like that. I'm telling you that most times, some of the stuff, if you let it ride, bro, it's gonna ride out, bro. It ain't even gonna be that important. And at some point, you're gonna be able to see that person face to face and be like, hey, bro, what's poppin'? I'm just saying to you fellas that we fighting too hard, especially if you're looking at this channel, especially if you're looking at their channel, especially if you're looking at Aristotle channel, especially if you're looking at Black Robin Hood channel, especially if you're looking at any channel that's teaching some type of education, 19 key, anybody. I want you to understand that that means you are striving to do something better. So if you do all this work, if you make all them sacrifices, because you sacrificing to invest, you sacrificing to save, you sacrificing to buy some real estate, you sacrificing to build a business, you sacrificing to get your credit right, you sacrificing to be the right father in your household, you sacrificing to give your kids something that you ain't never seen. If you do all them sacrifices and then let your anger make you strike the rock twice and cost you the promised land, it's a horrible feeling. So for my fellas, I just want you to understand, bro, let God get it out your heart. Let God show you the type of man you need to be. And it's not gonna be easy, but we gotta let the will go. Be ye the same mind that was in Christ. And if you know Christ, bro, he wasn't no pushover. But he picked his spots and he picked them well. I'm just telling you, pick your spots well, King. Execute with precision, King. And you never gotta prove nothing to the world. You only gotta show God. I promise, if you take nothing else from me tonight, just understand that. Because all the tough guys I know, including myself, bro, they ain't trying to be tough no more. We trying to live. We trying to enjoy what we working on. We trying to spend time with our kids. We trying to have fun. And we understand the power in being a lion and a lamb. But I really want to be a lamb way more than I got to be a lion. And I want you to understand that. You may not know it, but the lamb gonna get more respect. So I just want to say that to the black men and white men and Spanish men and brown men, because it's not a color thing, it's a man thing. I just know some of the pain that a black man go through because I'm a black man. So I just want y'all to know that, bro. Like, I wanted to say that to y'all tonight because I know a lot of people look up to me. A lot of people, admire me. And so I always ask myself, what is my position as a leader? And as men see me get my life right with God and men looking at me handle situations, I want to be the man that you look at and say, hey, I like how he handled that. Maybe I could do something similar to that. And so with that, I just want to say I appreciate everybody that DM'd me, and this message that I thought was it was 100% for y'all, man. It was from my heart, from brother to brother. You know what I'm saying? No matter what your race was, from brother to brother, I hope that part of the message really, 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 really stuck out to y'all.